What's up, everybody? Welcome. Today is Monday. It is October 17th, 2022. My name is Jeremy. I'm back home, and this is my first cup. Good morning, Mark, Liz, Jared, Brian, and all the rest of you, whether you're watching live later or listening. Thank you for coming by. Looks like we got some good folks showing up on Twitch. Thank you. Good morning, Jenny. Want to remind all of you, we're trying to get over an average of 3 people at Twitch. We're having a hard time doing that. Maybe you could help. Make a Twitch account. Follow whistlekick. Put it on your tablet and put that over there and mute it, and then watch on Facebook if that's what you want to do. It's okay. Good morning, Dennis. Dennis says, welcome to a brand new week. Whistlekick family. Cannot agree more. It's going to be a great week. It's going to be an odd week for me. I just got back. I literally got home just over 6 hours ago. And Friday, I fly out again. So the effort this week will be in remaining rested so I don't get sick. Good morning, Shibashi. So today we're going to talk about this past weekend, the launch of the first ever non-Northeast free training day. Some wonderful surprises, some people that showed up, some things that happened. It was great. We're going to talk about today's episode, which I'm really trying to get it to show up. It doesn't look like it's going yet, and that bums me out because I really wanted to make a big splash with it. But we'll hold that for a few minutes and see what happens there. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Nathan. Jared says FTD South. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. We've got some stuff from Frank. What am I doing? I'm trying to turn off banners is what I'm trying to do. It's not working. Good morning, Zed. Here we go. Gotta go over here. And then this. I'm exhausted. I'm really tired. Flight didn't land until 11:30. Probably got up to the car. Yeah, I got up to the car like 11:45 and drove home. Good morning, Gad. And just crawled into bed. I basically walked around the house, made sure nothing was on fire, crawled into bed. And now I'm here with all of you. So free training day South. First time we ever did a free training day outside of New England. And I want to shout out Justin for all the work that he put into this. Justin Ford, I don't know that Justin's ever made it to a first cup, but some of you know him. He's a great guy, put a lot of work in. And he attracted some really cool people. The thing that I heard over and over, this area needs something like this. And I suspect that that's true of many areas, maybe even most areas. The idea that we can get a bunch of people together simply to train and share, that's the word that I really like, share what we, have experienced, what we know, what we enjoy about martial arts. I think it's a pretty magical thing. Frank says, you don't look bad at all for a man who got home so late. I am so tired. Good morning, Tommy. Well, yeah, it's quite the compliment, but I'm tired. I did get decent sleep. Justin put me up, comfy bed. And also want to shout out Justin's other half there, Sammy. She was a huge part of it. She taught, she supported, she drove me around, like just absolutely wonderful. So to recap, and I did see most of your messages come through while I was on the plane on Friday. Those of you in the unofficial, I have nothing to do with it, First Cup Facebook chat. Brian's funny. Brian says, I can't do Twitch alone. No chat, family. Yeah. Lonely over there, right? But once we can get over that average and we can stop worrying about those pieces of it, we can actually do something there. Incredibly hamstrung. Twitch There is no, actually, that's not true. Back in the day when we started doing YouTube stuff, we couldn't do live until we hit like 1,000 subscribers. And they've changed that now, but that was very frustrating. What's this? No, all those things can go away. Keeping my phone up because I'm trying to track when that episode's actually going to hit. Kind of exciting, right? It's like breaking news. So Friday, flew out. It was like a 6 a.m. flight, 6:13, something ridiculous like that. And fun fact, the first direct flight I've ever had anywhere in my life. I have taken plenty of flights through Atlanta, but it's the first time I ever ended in Atlanta. And that made things much easier. It's not a long flight, just over 2 hours. And we even got in early. Pardon me. So landed, huge airport. I've been there before, of course. Justin picked me up and went back to the house. We talked about free training day. We prepped, we did signs, had some food. We went over to the event space and checked it out and did some prep work over there. And I'm sitting on the couch and I get a text from somebody that those of you local folks, some of you have met, Nish Grout, who used to live up here, moved to South Carolina and said, Atlanta's close enough. I'll go. So he sends me this text. I'll see you tomorrow, right? And I was so happy. I'd seen him fairly recently when he came up here, but it was a nice surprise. And then, of course, in the chat is Jared Wilson. Many of you know him as the host of Martial Thoughts, who is the first person, and I think your session was before mine, so you are the first person to teach it more than one free training day. So that was fun. Jared drove down from Nashville, and we had pretty much exactly what I had expected, a small but very intrigued group who saw the value. That's how it has to start. A big group that doesn't see the value doesn't get us anywhere. Yeah. All right. In the chat, Tommy says, Atlanta airport is beyond huge. It is massive. And I don't know if this is true. I didn't look it up, but I heard the busiest airport by people on Earth. Pretty much every time I go international, if it's Delta, if I'm on Delta, I go through Atlanta. Every single time when I went, let's see. I'm thinking of various flights that I've taken. Yeah. Most of the time I go to Central and South America, I go through Atlanta. I don't go to Europe very often. Hello and good morning to you, Stacy. So that was Friday. Met Cameron, who I can't tell you what he's working on yet, but someone that Justin introduced me to. Very nice guy, very competent instructor, full-time instructor down there. Got to see his school. It is the largest thing I've ever seen. I took a picture of it. I'm not going to show it on here, but I had to use a panorama to take a picture of his school. It's massive. It's the biggest martial arts school I've ever seen. It's so big, it's too big. Like, it's literally too big. He's excited they're changing locations in the near future because it will be smaller. Think about that for a second. It's crazy. So got to meet him. We did a live. Actually, Cameron was part of the live. So if you find the Free Training Day South event, you can go and you can see that live from the space that we trained in, which was not the biggest thing I've ever seen, but it was perfect. It was exactly what we needed. And then Saturday we showed up. We ordered coffee for all of the presenters, just kind of a, hey, thanks for betting on us. Thanks for being willing to engage in something that you didn't know about, you've never been to, with a couple exceptions. Ordered 2 boxes of Joe because we had, close to 10 people presenting, and said, okay, what if people want more than 1 cup of coffee? So I ordered 2 boxes of Joe, And Jared volunteered to go get the coffee. He sends me this message. It's like, they're out of boxes. Well, we know they have coffee because it's Dunkin' Donuts. So he shows up with 4 trays of 5 each small cups of coffee. So I'm drinking coffee all day. There's, people joke about going to Starbucks and spending a bunch of money on a cup of coffee. I think we got rid of something like 7 cups of coffee, and I think I drank 4 of them. Just putting down coffee left and right. Dennis says, I believe we're looking at flights for Antigua in the spring. They pretty much all have a connection through Atlanta. And Stacy says, morning, all you twitchy people. So that was the morning, and then we kicked off, and it was great. It was great because I didn't have to really work. Right? There weren't as many people, and it was Justin's event. I was supporting. It was his event. I got to train. All day. I did 2 sessions. There were 7 total, so I got to train with other people 5 times. It was a small enough group that something I'd been curious about experimenting with. We tried in my second session, and it went great. And for some of you who have been to free training days, to a number of them in the Northeast, I will give you the exact combination that was in my brain. The first 3 years, we did a group final session. What if you combine what that was with what I've been teaching of late with slow motion movement? Slow group combat. In fact, I called it leisurely group combat. It was interesting. I learned a bunch of things. I don't know. I'm still processing. We will see where that takes me. So Dennis says, you can never have too much coffee. I can. It's always something I think about in reaction. Wait a second. Did it snow? Hold on. Did it snow? Did it snow? Did that snow? Nope. That's just a weird reflection off the glass. It did not snow. I'm not ready for snow. I'm definitely not ready for snow. So we trained, we had lunch. Something that we struggled to get going up here in the Northeast early on was a lunch option. So a little bit of behind the scenes kind of fun fact stuff. The facility we did this at was at a church gymnasium. And another fun fact, all 3 free training days are at a religious facility gymnasium. 1 church gym and 2 religious school gymnasiums. So I don't know what the commonality is there. I don't know why, but this is the case. But this place happened to be where Justin started training martial arts, and there were people there that knew him, and one of them started a barbecue business. And he showed up with his stuff and served barbecue. Unfortunately, for me, pork. I don't eat pork, but I watched the people eating them, and they're like, "Oh my god!" And somebody came up to me and said, "I want to eat several more of these." It looked good. It smelled delicious, and it was just kind of a fun, nice touch. It was nice outside, so everybody sat outside, had lunch, and then we went back in and we trained some more. It was a good time. Everybody was there that was there at the end. We all went over to dinner, and it was a really, really nice day. Kelly says, sounds like it was a great day. It really, really was. Kat says, unless it's Starbucks pumpkin spice, 1 is enough, please. Do you guys get pumpkin spice over there in Europe? I'm assuming this is Gabe. Gabe and Jenny. Gabe says, glad to hear free training day South went well and can't wait for free training day Northwest this weekend. I am also excited. Kelly says 2 out of her 4 martial arts school locations are at churches. Inexpensive, generally, big spaces, accommodating. It's a good thing. Did I miss anything? I missed this. Jenny says snow is the worst 4-letter word. Nah, no, they're definitely worse 4-letter words. I can think of a few that I won't repeat, and not the ones you're thinking of. Tommy's school is at a church. So that was that, and then yesterday, got up and Justin was kind enough to drive me to Marietta, Georgia, where a college friend that I had not seen in 15 years, someone I've known forever, it seems like. She lives there with her husband, her 2 kids. I'd never met her husband. I hadn't seen her. We figured out something like 15 years and spent the day with her and her family, and it was great. We went to lunch at the most interesting spot I'd ever seen. Imagine, what was the best, for those of you roughly my age, we grew up with malls being a real thing. And one of the best things about malls was the food court. The idea that you could go in and everybody could get something different to eat and still sit together. And you could get, a this here and a that there. And that's what essentially this was. This was a really nice food court. That's all it was. It wasn't a mall. It was a standalone building. And so I ended up with a couple different sushi rolls, and the other people I sat with, one of them had a Philly cheesesteak. One of them had chicken fingers. One of them had a crepe, and another had, I think it was a burger. And we all sat together. How great is that? I wish we had that here in Vermont. All right, so Gad says they do have Starbucks in Europe, which I knew, but there are not that many where I live now. Unlike Taipei, where there's one on every corner, it seems. All right. Yep, everybody's chiming in about all these martial arts schools going on in gyms. And Lefty GJ says trying to start a martial arts ministry in our gym that has been empty for years. Well, that's cool. There are a number of martial arts faith organizations, which I think is super cool because it's one of the great things about martial arts. It can be so many different things. Good morning, Andy. So, of course, after hung out with these folks for the day, drove me to the airport, got on a plane, and came home. And that's the end. But it was a wonderful time. Very, very thankful for how it went. I want to shout out everybody who came, who supported. I will be in touch. We've got email addresses. One of the things going to happen moving forward, we have been using Facebook almost exclusively for communication about free training days. And I am aware that we can no longer do that. People are pulling back from Facebook. Facebook's algorithms are changing. Events used to be prioritized. We're seeing that people are missing things quite a bit now. So we're trying to get everything over to email. So if you are not part of the email list, if you don't get the whistlekick emails, go to whistlekick.com and hang out there for like 60 seconds, click around, act like you're going to close the tab. It should pop up and say, hey, do you want to join the newsletter? And you get some cool stuff when you do. All right. So what's next? Frank gave us a couple things to talk about. They were on the shorter end, which is great. Fits in perfectly. Shout out and thank you as always to Frank for all of his work on this show and to Josh for our theme music. So the first thing Frank said, I want you to tell us about Atlanta. And we got a couple quotes. So last Friday was Be Bald and Free Day. And if you didn't know, I don't have a ton of hair. And for me, this is long. I cut it just about a week ago. I will cut it again probably tomorrow. And these are just fun. First one, women love a self-confident, bald man. One of the things that I found interesting as I was losing my hair was how many men that are broadly deemed attractive and masculine have no hair. Not to say there's anything wrong with hair or men with hair, anybody with hair. I don't care. Hair's great. I started buzzing my hair when I was 12. I've never had long hair. I had spiked hair when I was in elementary school, but that's the closest I had. And it was like, maybe this long, maybe what's that, 2 inches? And it's longest, just not a hair guy. And then this is funny. I like the imagery of this one. I love bald men. Just because you've lost your fuzz doesn't mean you ate a peach. Dolly Parton, a bit appropriate, being down south. Not that Dolly Parton is from Atlanta, at least not that I'm aware of. And let's see if it's here. Okay. It's here, and it is here in video, and I am very excited. So today's episode of Martial Arts Radio is one that, all right, if you remember the Dan Millman episode, those of you who have been around, you've heard me talk about that episode. Stacy was instrumental in making that episode happen. You know that you may remember that there was a pretty long tail to getting that. Stacy reached out to Dan Millman, and it took about a year, and then he came on the show, and it was wonderful. This episode might be the longest it's taken any episode to go from outreach to completion. So today's episode of Martial Arts Radio 754 is with Sifu. Probably didn't know you could apply that title to Elvis Stoico. Now, if you don't know Elvis Stoico, if that name does not ring a bell, I will all but guarantee you have seen him do something that has become incredibly iconic in one of the world's most bizarre intersections of movement, martial arts, and figure skating. 92 or 94, I forget whichever one was the Winter Olympics. Elvis Stoico from Canada competed at the Olympic Games as a figure skater, individual figure skater, and did a routine rooted in Kung Fu. He wore a modified Kung Fu uniform. We'll call it a uniform. And I believe for that one, I know he's taken silver twice. He has 2 Olympic medals. So today's episode of Martial Arts Radio is a 2-time Olympic silver medalist. Now you might hear that and say, okay, great, Jeremy, it's figure skating, whatever. No, but this Elvis Stoico may be a figure skater or have been a figure skater, still is a figure skater, coaches figure skating. But this is a man, you've heard me quite often talk about movement and how martial arts can relate to so many other things. That's what this does. That is absolutely what this does. This episode is about him and movement, and it is awesome. And it's available in video on YouTube. You, of course, can listen to it in your audio feed. I'm super pumped for this episode, and I hope you all check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. Stacy, who is a fan, says he had an amazing martial arts routine called The Lion. It was stunning. Still one of my favorite routines ever. Yeah, that's the one that I'm talking about. Lefty says the ice skater. Yes, absolutely. So I hope you check that out. I hope you learned something. I did. And if my brain was serving me correctly, better. Maybe it's in the show notes. It is a past guest that made this happen. In fact, I want to look this up because bear with me one moment. I want to get to the show notes here. Glenn Doyle. So episode 360, Sifu Glenn Doyle. I want to say a couple things without giving it away. So it was because of Glenn Doyle coming on the show that we were able to get to Elvis. Okay, he helped us get there. Elvis has been a student for a long time. And in the episode, he starts talking about a few things related to how he was getting better and getting ready, kind of moving up in the world of figure skating. And he starts talking about Sifu Doyle. And I asked him, how much of an impact did he make? Like how would things have been different without him? And I don't remember his words, but I'm going to leave you with that as a cliffhanger, because here we have, what's the question? Would this figure skater have been such an amazing figure skater without martial arts? You can guess what the answer is, but there's a much longer version of that answer. And I look forward to you discovering that in the episode. People are pumped about that episode. Stacy says, I have the martial arts book by Stoico. Yeah. You know, we're building all of these. We've got all these Canadian martial arts guests, and they tend to be in Ontario, which is a bummer because Quebec is so much closer for me. But if we ever do a Free Training Day Canada, it will probably launch in Ontario, probably be outside Toronto somewhere. Maybe, hopefully, I'd love to. So go check out that episode today. Enjoy it. It's what is it, hour 12? A little bit longer for us. But I had a blast with him. He's a good guy, and he's still doing some really cool stuff and working with people. And this is someone who he loves movement. Remember, there are only so many ways the human body can move, and only some of them make sense in combat. And then if you put ice skates on, there's some that you're not going to be able to do. Yeah, I fully agree. I'll read that in a minute, Stacey. Gat says, that is Kung Fu as well. Mastering a skill by putting in the effort. And Chinese Kung Fu is not just limited to martial arts. We've talked about that on the show. The episode with Jonathan Bluestein, we spent the first 15 minutes talking about that very subject. I think I'd been gardening that day, or one of us had been gardening that day, and we talk about Kung Fu was gardening. It's attaining mastery through hard work. And Tommy, who knows of such things, agrees 100%. Stacy's suggesting that we name the event Free Training FTDCA, FTDCA, Well, I will leave you with that. Go check out that episode. If you want a VIP bundle for Free Training Day Northeast, you basically have until I make it to my desk for the day. So an hour or so, go order it right now if you want one. Otherwise, you're not getting the VIP bundle with the shirt and everything. So they've sold well. That was a cool thing. I'm glad Andrew and I came up with this. It's working well. Free Training Day Northeast is working well. Lots of cool stuff that we'll take these others and grow them into. And, you know, wouldn't surprise me if we end up going from 3 to 4 or 5 next year. But it'll probably hang there for a little bit because these are a lot of work. They're good things, but they're a lot of work. Shibashi says it well. I'll just read it. Hope everyone has an awesome day. If you want to support us, remember, you can go to whistlekick.com. You can use the code FIRSTCUP15 to save 15% on anything that we've got over there. You could also join the Patreon for as little as $2 a month, patreon.com/whistlekick. If you want the entire list, go to the whistlekick.com/family page. The family page, updated weekly. It's free behind the scenes, and it's all the things you can do to help us out. If you love what we do, if you appreciate our mission to connect, educate, and entertain martial artists from around the world, and recognize that I just got on a plane and flew and did a whole bunch of things for an event that nobody paid to attend, you can probably infer that the economics of that event did not work out. So anything you do to help us, maybe it's, hey, this episode of Martial Arts Radio today is kind of random and cool, maybe you want to share it with people. That would be great. Anything you do would be appreciated. We do the show every weekday, 6:30 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Of course, you can watch it later or listen to it later. I hope you have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Peace.